So last week, people have been waiting for this, and they knew to announce this last Tuesday, and they thought they was gonna escape the wrath of when they should real talk about this shit. But WWE ID, my God. So WWE has got the bright idea to start tagging independent wrestlers as feds, essentially. Like, so if you guys somehow hadn't heard about it, they have partnered with several pro wrestling schools, ironically, that have some kind of head WWE legend or active person, these affiliated schools, essentially.
Yeah, I saw one that was tied to the Seth Rollins like Wrestling Academy / CrossFit Gym Idol, and I chuckled.
Yeah. There's them, Booker T Reality Wrestling is like Rikishi's place in California, the Nightmare Factory down the street from me, and then Elite Pro Wrestling, which is essentially like a descendant of that Killer Kowalski shit, which is like where Triple H comes from. So I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're putting like the wrestler up there that whatever's in charge of the school. So my first thought was, wow, they're about to take a bunch of suckers' money that they're going to jack them rates up and then get people in there. But
we're an affiliate.
Yeah, and then I was like, I just started thinking, James, I went crazy on Twitter the other week, and I was just like thinking about like, yo, they should probably announce the people that are affiliated with WWID, because if they don't, the signs are going to like make themselves abundantly clear, I feel like.
Okay, you want to go into that and explain what you mean?
So like, I originally started with the thought, I was like, imagine like and they got to kind of keep this on the low, right? Like two WWE ID guys run into each other on the independents, and then like they is out here like, hey, you one of them too? I am too. And then it's almost like, whoo, man, I didn't know if I could trust you for a second, bro. Like, you out here living fast too? Like,
oh my
God. Their gear would be a little bit too nice. They'd be like, hold on, man. Who Mikaze did this? How you get some Mikaze gear? What's that? What's that? You would think about, the theme music, Like, hold on, you got a Def Rebel theme. Where'd you get that from? Who did you talk to? You went to the studio with them? They emailed this?
Why does it sound uninspired but well mixed? What's going on?
Just like one too many headlocks in a match, certain ways they run the ropes.
I got one better for you. Like, what's gonna happen with this booking for these independent shows when they start bringing people in?
Bro, all the same things that happened in NXT UK that people have their head in the sand and don't want to see it. Just people I'm just disappointed by. Come on, Dave. Talking about we got to see it happen. James, did or did not 1984 All-American Wrestling happen?
It happened.
Did or did not the CWC and the Cruiserweight Classic happen?
It happened.
Did NXT UK and the clear out of the UK Indies happen?
It happened.
What are we doing? We know what this is. However, I
haven't listened to it. Like, was Meltzer's head in the sand on this, or was he just like, I'm not gonna call the bullshit until the bullshit starts happening?
Pretty much that.
Okay. All right. That's okay. Okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I am looking at you like, how nice of you to try to have some integrity on being there. But like, we all know our antennas are all up ready for the bullshit though. We all ready for it.
So there are some other
ever since AEW has proliferated and has multiple shows and has ROH, like the American Indies are bombed out and depleted.
I was gonna mention that. So it's not like the next super workers have been coming through the Nightmare Factory. It's not like Rikishi is producing, just the next Will Ospreay or Swerve Strickland. Like Like Kenny Omega's not walking out of the reality of wrestling. Like, so it's like, nah, man. Like, this will be effective to a point, but ultimately, it's going to carve up the wrestling business even more. These aren't even real indies. These are like affiliated wrestling schools that always kind of were that, and they have shows, but it's not like a GCW. It's not West Coast Pro. It's not Defy or anything like that. Like that are real indies per se. Like there's no like there's no fear of like whatever, but they are, I don't blame them because they are trying to get in earlier on talent in some way. And this is, you know, in a way, something AEW should have done a long time ago.
Well, my thing goes, if you need to get in on talent earlier, then what the fuck were you doing with the PC?
Oh, do you want to bust it open?
Well, my thing is like, if the whole idea of all of this was like, we need, and all the talk they've had over the years and the things they saved to justify the PC is like, we're going to bring in better athletes at the base level that come from all these different backgrounds, and we're going to teach them how to wrestle, and we're going to teach them how to wrestle in the way we want them to. And then aside from, and then their hit rate is so poor that now they're going back to the indies, which are now the worst they've been in half a decade because AEW exists and NXT existed before that. Then what do you expect to get?
Yeah.
Like what diamond in the rough do you expect to find here? In all honesty.
I think
is the idea to get like we need to get like the next Roxanne Perez? Okay.
I think it's telling. Look, I think it's telling when, and our buddy Velkesh brings this up all the time. Is like we look at the WrestleMania shows this year, wasn't like there was like one person on both nights that came directly out of the PC or something like that.
And I'm guessing that was Bianca.
I think so, yeah. And it was like, this thing is like a money loser, and this is a way they're basically like, all right, we're spending way too much money on
Baron Corbin.
What's up?
They just released Baron Corbin.
They did.
After they made him the lead frontman of a heel faction that include Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley in 2018.
About that.
We said that shit was dumb in real time. This isn't revisionist history. We were like, what the fuck are they doing? They have Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley in this faction, and he's the front man. We called it Corbin Goon.
Yeah. So, like, I think this is like Triple H or whatever the brain trust is being like, yo, we're spending way too much money on this performance center. We're going to cut back. We're going to basically combine it with the UFC Las Vegas thing. I think that's still happening. And that PC will be there as like a museum essentially, or they'll close that shit down. And they'll be like, all right, we're basically outsource this labor to these people we already got under contract with, the wrestling schools like your Nightmare Factory or whatever. We'll build those places up as destinations essentially, and then we'll take the pick of the litter because every person that's in those schools are not going to be WWE ID people. So it's like, okay, like I see what they're doing, but like I don't think what's going to come in is anything that hasn't already been coming in, because they still have to be able to spot talent. They have to still be able to like find special people and be like, oh, we'll go with you or whatever. Like that's, I don't know. It does make some of them schools though. It'd be like, I don't know how it brings like a conflict of interest, I think. At a certain point, because it's like, all right, if somebody walks in there, right, and they're like, I have a goal of being a professional wrestler, like, and it's like, do they automatically just steer them toward WWE? Like, probably at this point.
Well, I mean, what happened with the Ben Carter dude?
Yeah, he was from Seth Rollins. Like, imagine like him walking in, like, and he wants to go to WWE the whole time. And it's like, I'm not saying this is a bad thing either. It's just this exists. This will exist or whatever. So, like, AEW has to have a either counter to this, or they have to beef up what they're doing. And they have plenty of relationships with international people and different, they got a wink, wink, nudge, nudge with letting people work in Defy and West Coast Pro and Deadlock, I think. But I think this is a wake-up call for...
still House of Glory.
Yeah, House of Glory. I think this is AR Fox's school. I think this is a wake-up call.
Is he still alive?
What's up?
Is AR Fox still alive?
Yes, he's actually booked to wrestle Nick Wayne.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I feel like ever since they killed the whole thing, and the whole visa thing to the UK like a year or a year and change ago, I ain't really seen him or heard anything about him.
It's been quiet. He fought Ricochet a couple weeks ago, so he might be back in the mix.
Was that on Collision or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
He might be back in the mix.
Okay.
But
how was it?
I didn't see Collision that week.
I got to check that out.
But I think this is a wake-up call for AEW to be like, all right, where are you going to try to get talent also earlier? What are you going to do, to counter this? Like, hey, because ultimately, they're trying to keep chess pieces off the board.
Yeah. Well, my question is, as you mentioned, if WWE's whole thing is we got to get to the guys, we got to get to the prospects that may not even be for us ideally that we will want, but are people that we think could be better for them for AEW, and therefore we need to nip that in the bud. Okay, I get that as an anti-competitive strategy, but if they ain't for AEW, they damn sure ain't gonna be for. Or sorry, if you're trying to find indie talent, they're more likely to be more valuable to AEW than they are for WWE. As far as what WWE looks for in the looks of a professional wrestler. So
I feel like a lot of people are going to get scammed and grifted, and
but it's going to come down to self-awareness of being like, I look like this, they want me. Or I look like this, they wouldn't want me, therefore I know what the game is. And also, does that come with hey, I got a potential to make a check, I don't care. It gets me my foot in the door to network with people that eventually will work on the other side anyway, so I don't care. If they can play that game, cool. I just don't want people to be in this era, people be like, I thought I had a chance and then it didn't work out, whereas
yeah, because it's the overarching influence of WWE will become more prevalent. It's I want less WWE, not more.
I don't care one way or the other, because these people are going to have to get, or these people are going to have these dreams or want to get this hustle and get this grind on anyway. So if there's a check for them to get, go get it.
Darius the God brings a good point. Niggas finna get robbed. Yes,
yep,
they're about to sign these slave deals for a whip and a chain. James, they are about to.
No. They're gonna pay. They're gonna pay so they can tat it on their skin.
Yeah,
it's not. They're not getting no whipping, no chain. They're gonna be like, They gonna show up. They gonna show up to their indie jobs or to their indie spots to go through the walkthrough or whatever else, and they're gonna be wearing WWE ID black tees.
Now look, they ain't gonna be setting up no merch. They ain't gonna be like, why? I'm on a WWE ID contract that prohibits me from pressing something up out my own name.
Wow.
I don't know how they all work and everything, but if they are the restrictive contracts that this company historically offers,
why would they be able to press their own merch? Why would they be able to open up a PWTs?
James, I was told by somebody in the wrestling business, people should not sign these contracts, whatever they are, when it comes out. So stay away from I don't know,
and they're at that level where these people ain't necessarily got lawyers for this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole lot of control.
You got a point, Rich. You got a point.
This is going to be a whole lot of control, and then you're going to have to ask for everything you do, everywhere you work, and then every opponent, how long before all the finishes are dictated, and is it just okay, I'm just going to work in reality of wrestling only? It's going to literally cut off a journey that guys may want to go to. They be like, yo, I want to work on the West Coast, I want to work all over, I want to get in the car and do. They're going to rob that experience.
I want to get XP.
Right. They're going to rob that experience, or smartly, maybe they can trade between the regions or whatever. Hey, Nightmare Factory, I got somebody. I'm going to send them to Iowa or whatever. I'm going to take the big man from Rikishi. I'm going to bring them over here to the Northeast or whatever. And then I'm going to take the Northeast dudes. I'm going to bring them down to Texas or whatever with Booker T. That would probably be the best kind of way to where They could work in front of different places. They can do this stuff. But even though all these affiliates are psyops, they're not real indies anyway.
So here's my question, right? If you were to do this for WWE in a non-cynical way, right? Wouldn't this be an opportunity for them to be able to put people that are on like level up or people that have very limited like match counts, like onto indie shows that these small indie shows no one's really paying attention that they could actually run?
Yes.
As opposed to like the only thing you get is like, you know, or you're like, you know,
because they're not gonna run NXT house shows really much anymore.
Right. That's what I mean. Or even if they were still running like they used to back in the day, be like, you're a level up person. You're not gonna be on this anyway. Like, so I mean there is a potential where like they could do that to help their wrestlers. But even if that is a thing they do, they're definitely doing both. It ain't gonna be one without the other. And the one that is gonna be most important is gonna be we're trying to get in on trying to cut some of this stuff off before it even happens for like this anything to happen. And I'm just like, I don't see the need for it. It's because
I think it's gonna save them a lot of money.
Don't you think if you're WWE, right? Like if you want to keep NXT because obviously they're getting a check for CW, whatever else, good for them. Your next superstar that's like, you know, the person that's going to become like a top babyface, like they're in AEW right now.
Probably
they're not going to be on the Indies. They're going to be in
likely
AEW.
They are already in AEW. Yes,
right. So like Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be some shit like that where like there's going to be another big person that's getting, you know, significant TV time is going to also go. So like I don't necessarily see them as having a need for this.
I really think it's about saving money for them. And they're like, okay, you know, we can outsource this stuff. We can make these places like more valuable kind of. And what they're trying to do is co-opt street cred from these places from people that don't know any better and be like, oh, but like the clued in wrestling fan is not gonna see the WWE ID guys as like, oh, they're indie superstars. It's like, no, they're federal informants. Like they're
Are you think that the way the indies have, do you think, okay, people aren't clued in. I think the American indies has been so bombed out and depleted over the last 5 years that nobody even has that. We'd be like, yeah, I would like. Where can you go and be like honestly, forget like the WWE part. Where can you go in the American Indies right now and get some street cred? Is like, yeah, that's the next indie darling. Where can you go? Is it Defy and PWG and that's it?
Is Defy maybe GCW and West Coast Pro, maybe GCW.
But is that like is that somebody just like they show up and they ball, or do you have to have a name? Like, do you have to be Takeshita to do that? Takeshita does that, but he's Takeshita.
Yeah. DPW,
he was already one of the best wrestlers in the world before then. Anyway,
PWG's on hiatus. You know, because like there's a guy like Titus Alexander, right, who's raw as fuck. I don't know if you ever heard of him, right? I saw him wrestle Swerve. I saw him wrestle Swerve before in Defy, whatever. He's kind of like a homegrown guy there. What he ended up doing, like Noah ended up picking him up and bringing him over. Like, and it's like, what's gonna happen with like a lot of these people is like.
Is Titus Alexander not signed to NXT?
Not sure.
Isn't there a guy in NXT that got sent over? I'm not talking about Regal's kid. Wasn't there somebody else that was in NXT that got sent over to Noah, got over, and then like brought him right back? He ain't really do much.
Tavion Mitchell, I think.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Yep.
But like it's like back to Titus Alexander. So like he got sent over to Noah, and then he also like got working like Ring of Honor and then also squash matches in AEW, right? Now, if you're WWE, right? Like, how do you be like I don't know how you're gonna get to Titus Alexander, pretty much. So, and I don't know if Titus Alexander is necessarily a wrestler that they would be interested in pushing. He's just young, so I don't know, man.
That's another thing is like you mentioned, like.
Tavion Heights. Excuse me, not Mitchell.
Okay, that's another thing you mentioned. Is like, yeah, man, like these people are like, these people aren't going to make to their main roster or whatever no time soon. Those people need to go to AEW first to get before they even come on the radar, because like they ain't push you until you 30 or 35 in WWE right now.
Look, and there's not enough matches or spots. So
how old is Montez?
I think Montez
ain't he in his early to mid 30s?
I think Montez is a bit younger than you might think.
Maybe I'm thinking that because I believe Bianca's she's in her mid 30s.
He is 34.
All right, so he's basically like, wait, is he Swerve's age?
Pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe like a year younger or so.
Yeah. There you go.
So like those guys are they are subtly speaking up between him and Angelo Dawkins.
That's why I brought him up, because like they were talking about that push for him 2 years ago.
Yes.
He's 34 now, and the push still ain't there.
So like by the time the push is taking hold, how long is that going to be?
Well, I mean, did he got some Samoan in his family?
Afraid not. Maybe he should lie. Say, hey, I was, Rocky Johnson was my great uncle, nigga. Like,
we want the smoke, Oos. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, there are people that check off all the things WWE wants, right? Like charismatic, stereotypically handsome, great mic presence, dresses like a star, carries himself like a star, right? Does the media stuff, is camera friendly, all that kind of stuff. Already has connection with the crowd, already over with the crowd to a certain extent, right? Super athletic, has all that stuff. Just ain't happening yet. For whatever reason.
I'll let you tell it.
Yeah.